Yeah, it's the 16th of December. The sun is high, the waves are blue, while everybody's chilling in Bolito. Someone's got something else to do. Down in Durban, they're soaking up the spray. It's a holiday, baby, reconciliation day. Nobody's at the office, nobody's on the clock, except for the agents heading down the block. They're swarming through the hallways, looking for a file, losing all the rhythm, losing all the style. In a wood-made office, the air turns cold. A story's being written that's already getting old. Demanding every paper, searching for a name. Intimidation is the spirit of the game. They said, where are the Americans? We need them in a row. But then they changed the script for the midday show. It was the raid on Woodmead under a summer sky. A holiday hustle, a convenient little lie. They said, Hakuna Matata, don't you be afraid. We only want the Kenyans, it was quite the masquerade. Oh, the raid on Woodmead, relations take a fall. Building up the tension, building up the wall. Now Ronald's got a scheme in home affairs, is talking fast, trying to make a holiday work ethic really last. The public's looking sideways, the logic doesn't flow. Working on a Friday, on a holiday, no. Was the KFC closed? Was there nothing left to eat? Is that why the uniforms are out on the street? Somebody doxed a diplomat, his secrets on the loose. Now Washington is tightening the diplomatic news. The ancient says it wasn't me. Washington says we shall see. A stumble, a tumble, a diplomatic crack. Once you cross that line, there's no turning back. No turning back. It was the raid on Woodmead under a summer sky. A holiday hustle, a convenient little lie. They said, Hakuna Matata, don't you be afraid. We only want the Kenyans, it was quite the masquerade. Oh, the raid on Woodmead, relations take a fall. Building up the tension, building up the wall. Summer sky, a holiday hustle, a convenient little lie. They said, Hakuna Matata, don't you be afraid. We only want the Kenyans, was quite the masquerade. Oh, the raid on with me, relations take a fall. Building up the tension, building up the wall. Check the calendar. Reconciliation doesn't feel like it in Woodmead. Keep your papers ready, mate. Hakuna Matata. Right? Come coot in bed.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Sunday, April 5th, 2026. Welcome back to the program, folks, and happy Easter. In the King James Version of our Bible, for those who are Christian, under John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Happy Easter. I read that passage from John 3:16 because it seems as if the world has gone bat crap crazy. Absolutely bat crap crazy, ladies and gentlemen. The number of Verraillers, Lügners und Betrügners, the number of dishonest people, the scam artists, the people with their own vested interest in things who seem to want to distract from reality just seems to grow by legions. And I have seen this over the past week especially. The envy, the penis envy that's going on amongst so many people, people lying, distorting, and misleading others, posting bizarre things, including our president. President Trump posted this. This is a little beyond the pale. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Trump. That is... I'm sorry, folks. While I criticize the president when it's appropriate, this seems a highly inappropriate statement on Easter weekend. Some people will find it deeply offensive. Others will not. Others will simply revel in it. But at some point, it's not very presidential. It's not AI. It's President Trump. But Easter is a time to give thanks. I know it's not Thanksgiving, but it's time to give thanks. And you can see here, we've got my little friend, the bunny here, out for Easter because rabbits represent life, the way they reproduce. And of course, we have our collection of Easter eggs on the tree right there on this Easter. So welcome Easter Sunday. I am wearing a pastel color. This is from my Chris Wyatt Reports and Africa shirt. Thank you. Some of the merch that I have out there. Thank you. I don't know what's going on, President Trump. It's a little much. I don't know. That's a bit strange. But it is a time to give thanks. And I want to give thanks to the viewers who watch my program faithfully, those who come occasionally. And I really appreciate that you're here. Some people seem to think that I need views for validation. I don't need any of this. I really don't need any of this. I don't need it. See that bitter as ender? See, I report both sides. When Trump does something right, when he does something that we have issues with, yeah, I definitely publish them. Yeah, Guy, I'm going to get to that story about the Soleimani family. They should never have been here. Yeah, I'm also caught off guard by the statement. I'm surprised by that from President Trump. The language is becoming a bit much. And it gives credence to the leftists who call him unhinged and call him crazy and other things. But Easter is a day to give thanks. Jesus arose from the dead, if you believe in the faith of Christianity, on this date, on this day. And I'm grateful for the things that the people do for me and I can do to help others. In my last trip to South Africa, I had to, of course, once again, buy another suitcase to put all the lovely things that people gave me in. I was going through the basement where I keep a lot of these things so that because it's temperature controlled down there, things stay nice and if I'm not using them. And I came across this lovely gift that was given to me last year. And I don't know if the family's still watching, but this was Chris Wyatt South Africa Tour 2025. This is lovely coasters. Now, I will tell you in the interest of full disclosure, I do not use the coasters because they're just too lovely. But I thought I'd show it to you and just show you how kind and generous people can be, particularly South Africans. Americans and South Africans are very kind and generous. So if I open it up, it is a bunch of leather coasters, and it's absolutely, the craftsmanship is incredible. And what's been done here is something beautiful. So thank you, Chris Wyatt, South Africa Tour 2025, Ray, Debbie, Tyrone, Wesley, and Heidi from the family. So there's the first one. You can see just how lovely these things are. This is made with care and love, and they use my, and this is another reason I wore the shirt. You can see that they put my emblem from Chris Wyatt Reports on there. So that is lovely. So that's the first one. Now, they declare that they're part of the Chris Wyatt Army, and I hope they're still with us. I hope they're still part of the Chris Wyatt Army. But here you go. They gave me the big five. Of course, there's a lion, and here's a rhinoceros. This is just incredible. Such lovely things that people do. So there's a rhino. Then we have my favorite, because I have a memory like elephants, the elephant. And then the Cape buffalo, the most dangerous of Africa's creatures. And finally the leopard, the big five. It's lovely. And something that they stuck in here at the bottom, in the bottom there was a little surprise. Those coasters lay in here, but then the bottom there's a cutout in the center there. You can see the center there. And it says Totglas coasters, the little five. Most people don't know the little five. There you go. So here's the little five. Got my emblem on it. We've got the elephant shrew. The elephant shrew. Okay. We've got the rhinoceros beetle. Buffalo weaver. Leopard tortoise. Jacqueline Mueller, that is posted on Trump's Truth Social account. That's where I got it from, and I'll show it to you. And the ant lion. So that's the little 5. That's the little 5. This was a gift, one of many gifts from South Africans. They're very generous and very kind. I appreciate it. As long as you don't try to give me a bribery with onions on it, we tend to do okay. So I'm trying to get those back in the spot. There they go. But aren't those lovely? And I can never forget who they came from because their names are on here. Again, I don't know if they're still viewers of the channel. I hope they are. People come and go for whatever reason. Sometimes people's feelings are hurt. I don't think that would affect these people. Pizza party, thank you. Starbucks money, thank you. So that's just lovely. And on this Easter, I give thanks, even though it's not Thanksgiving, for life and for the generosity of others. And this is one of the examples. Sometimes I show these things that people give. Now, here's another gift. Many of you have seen this before. This actually got me on a flight early from OR Tambo to Cape Town. I wasn't milking. I actually needed to walk that day. This was a lovely gift from Garrett. Check it out. Snake head on there. And there is a horn for a walking stick. Lovely. Fantastic. I don't dare take it on other flights because I worry that they'll confiscate it. But yeah. So I do love it. It's beautiful. It's well crafted, well done. Very kind of him to give this to me. It's a gift I'll never get. You see it sits back here all the time, right there. Right there. Occasionally I knock it over. All right. I didn't see the Amerikaners post on April 1st. It would be inappropriate to give people false hope. Thank you, Garrett. It was one of the best gifts I ever got. Okay, so let's, again, thank you all for being here. Contrary to the lies, I'm not desperate for views. Remember, this channel is getting maybe 300,000 views per month, 250,000 views per month, less than that, just in December of 2024, before Nobs Mkhize went on a fly-SAF air flight and was racially abusive towards colored flight attendants and assaulted passengers. And she's yet to be banned, from my knowledge, from flying in South Africa, this ANC official, this apparatchik. So when that happened, I made a video which got over 50,000 views, and I began making prepared videos again because I tailed off on that, and my channel began to grow. Before Trump came in office, before the Refugee program, my channel doubled in January of 2025 from 20 to 35,000 subscribers. So I get now 1.2 million views per month with 124,000 subscribers. That's an average of 10 views per subscriber per month. Given the fact that I'm gaining very few subscribers, approximately 1,000 per month max at the moment, that would mean that the average viewers watch at least 10 of my videos during the course of a month. That's hardly a bad statistic. In fact, that's an incredible statistic. Most of these people with millions of viewers are lucky if they average 1 or 2 views amongst their viewers, because most of viewers are casual. They're not real viewers. Whereas I have real viewers, all 339 of you, including the 25 trolls who are here with your hand wrapped around your penis right now. You are here watching it. So, yeah, I'm hardly desperate. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, as I've always been with views, last year when the Refugee program was in full swing and we got to May and we had the Oval Office meeting, I was averaging 4 million views per month. So just 1/4 of that. But at 1.2 million views, my views stack up favorably and beat the Truth Report and all the major South African commentators who are center or center-right. Not boasting, it's just a statement of fact. Just a statement of fact. So, am I disappointed that I have 1.2 million views? Sure, I'd love to have 5 million views per month. But desperate for views? No. Clickbait titles? No. I intentionally do not make clickbait titles. I make honest titles. There are so many things I can make clickbait titles, so many things I could do with my credibility that would get massive views, but I don't do that. I don't betray the truth. And these hateful people who write such idiotic things are just disgraceful human beings. They're poor excuses. And ask yourself what their ulterior motives are. They all try to lay ulterior motives on me. Oh, he's making money. He's doing this. Really? What non-government organization, what nonprofit have I formed to take money from people's pockets? None. 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 How many of you have received a bill from me for free for consulting services for providing you information on the Refugee program, on resettlement? None of you. These people are just nasty people, and they have no lives, and they want to strike down those who are good, righteous, and moral. And that's the problem. It's really sad to me to see people who keep associating me exclusively with the refugee program when most of my content is not even related to the refugee program. It's not. And as I've said all along, this program is for my viewers. And sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, sometimes we cover the news, which I'll get to in a moment. I know you're patiently waiting for that. And sometimes we talk about the refugee program. We generate and create entertaining music like the Raid on Woodmead. By the way, that song was dedicated. That's the Raid on Woodmead was dedicated to a certain nasty person who came on my chat the other night. If you're on Friday night, you got to listen to it. But I removed that video because I used a little too much potty mouth in the beginning and I embarrassed myself at how nasty that was. So I removed that video. But it was very entertaining to see this person come on and attack me and lie. The person claimed that I wrote a song about them. No. I wrote a song about Steve Hofmeyr. I've written songs about Cyril Ramaphosa, but I don't think I've written, and Donald Trump, I don't think I've written songs about any other individual on the planet. I could be mistaken, but certainly not a private individual. The song was not about that person. The song was about the Raid on Woodmead. This is the song.
Yeah, it's the 16th of December. The sun is high, the waves
no mention of any person's name in here.
Everybody's chilling in Bolito. Someone's got something else to do. Down in Durban, they're soaking up the spray. It's a holiday, baby, reconciliation day. Nobody's at the office, nobody's on the clock, except for the agents heading down the block. They're swarming through the hallways, looking for a file, losing all the rhythm, losing all the style. In a wood-made office, the air turns cold. A story's being written that's already getting old.
Anyway, that song, I don't know anything about any Red Cross. What are you guys talking about Red Cross? You're the second person. I think Ingrid said that too. There's no Red Cross on my comments. I don't have any Red Cross. I have blocked a few accounts like OSINT. S.A. OSINT is an evil, nasty person. Apparently, these people's childish behavior, their churlish conduct leads to them being blocked. Historically, I try to avoid blocking people. Christoph Avanga was one of the first who got blocked because he was being an ass. I don't know anything about a Red Cross, Henry Swanepoel. You're going to have to send me a screenshot of that. People need to send, Ingrid, send me a screenshot of where your X is on your laptop, okay? Yeah, the song is definitely that's definitely a Kalfitsoki song. These people hate themselves and everyone around them. In Afrikaans, we call them sour prumi, which translates sour prunes. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Someone wrote that, hey, thank you for your membership. USA Minion. So someone wrote on one of those comments that his video is clickbait and it's all lies and speculation and a media outlets already picked it up. Well, yes. Yes, a media outlet will pick it up. Have you not been paying attention to what I've been saying for the past couple of years? Certainly the past year. Certainly since the refugee program. News 24, the New York Times, Reuters, AP, CNN, Newsroom Africa, IOL, Times Live, watch my content, or they put their interns to do it. They steal my content, they steal my analysis all the time. So of course they're going to write a story about this when it suits their needs. And of course the concept of a denial will suit their needs so they can disparage the program and rubbish it. But the purpose of doing the story is before these liars get out there and spread misinformation. At least there's a record of it. It's not my fault that YouTube hides my videos or that most of the people who, I got to tell you, this is before we get into the news, I got to tell you this. The number of people whom I know, people whom I visited in South Africa and in America, refugees, refugee aspirants, South Africans, the number of these people who don't watch my videos but still contact me and ask me questions is astounding. It's absolutely astounding. The video that I made about, where's it at? Give me a second here. This video was, I need it here. Let's go to my channel. Actually, here, I can do it this way. This video, outstanding flight tickets and lack response, has just 3,500 views. But I've received well over 200 people contacting me, asking me, what's this all about? Do you know anything about this? Well, please have the courtesy to watch my channel. It's right there. Outstanding flight tickets and lack of response, not my effort. I did not do this. It's well-intentioned, but I had nothing to do with it, and I wasn't asked about it ahead of time. And it's generated a lot of chaos. Hello, folks. Welcome back. This video is necessary because of what appears to be a well-intentioned effort that wasn't directly coordinated with me. Perhaps they thought they were coordinating with me, but they did not. This apparently came about while I was in Las Vegas. Some of you in a Discord group have received a message about a Google form to fill out about cases from February through December that are just lingering, collecting information to pass to me on Monday. I have nothing to do with this, although the information will be forwarded to me as I understand it. I'm not rubbishing it. I'm just telling you that it wasn't coordinated with me ahead of time. And if it was, I must have had a senior moment because I don't know anything about this. So I understand the originator of it has stripped out a lot of the personal information. I think they meant well, and the intent was to send me the information with the hope that I would take it to someone in the U.S. government. Well, I appreciate that. It's, you know, you can't just do these things. You've got to coordinate with me, okay? You got to coordinate with me. People are very entitled, West House. And Future Looks Bright says, all the South Africans are taking a long weekend off while you're kicking as usual. Well, apparently I'm disrespectful to the faith of Christianity. Thank you for your membership, Michelle Lombard. Rehab Bunny, please ask your refugee question at the end of this or come on the Refugee Cafe Clutch after our interview, which follows this, okay? I'm not going to answer refugee questions right now. Nicholas says, thanks for standing for Afrikaners. One of my first prayers as a Christian was their protection. God answered with Trump. Exactly. Future Looks Bright. So many people read the heading and they don't watch the videos. That's what's even more pissing me off, because I would say that 70% of the negative comments are people that don't even watch the video. People don't listen. They do not listen. They do not listen. It's beyond my comprehension. The world is so full of Karens, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The number of Karens out there, the number of people who cannot handle their crap is just shocking to me. It beggars the imagination, ladies and gentlemen. It absolutely beggars the imagination. I don't understand how we became such a stupid species. You notice I said we. I didn't say you. I said we. And I've got these trolls lying about me. What does this one lady say? I know I'm going to get to the news, folks. It is Sunday, though. Sunday we tend to chat a little bit before we get to the news. Where's this one at here? Oh, this one's, someone thanked me. Always appreciate honesty and analysis. That's on the denials coming. Thank him for what? Chris is a fear-mongering and spreading false information, posting clickbait. He's exploiting vulnerable aspirants for views. It's so obvious with your same bullshit, these people who lie. Here's another one. Even though they were approved, Colonel Wyatt said we are all lowlifes and we must be grateful as the black countries are also waiting and of you complain they ghost you, and that's what they did. So apparently, according to this liar, I call people lowlives. Thank you, West House. Breaking news. I'm speculating. People speculating about me. So I've got someone lying in groups. And see, this is what they do. And they do this to draw people away from the channel. They do this to draw people away. And then they lie to them. And they spread nonsense. Telling people I call people lowlives. No. That person's a lowlife. Yes, you are. And what's the username? We'll expose that person as a lowlife. Marceline Sappet, you're a lowlife. You're a lowlife for lying like that. 2 about the red X. Okay, thank you for that. That's YouTube. Okay, I see it. That's YouTube. I've had that happen to me before, but you're not blocked. Neither one of you are blocked. Thank you for that screenshot. I appreciate that. That's YouTube. Sometimes if you refresh your app or you come back, thank you for your subscription, Gospel Knowledge. Wow, on Easter Sunday. But apparently I'm a bad Christian because I made 5 videos Thursday night, the day before Good Friday, and they aired on Good Friday. Apparently that makes me a bad Christian. Did you know that? Apparently I made too many videos. There's a limit on how many videos I'm allowed to prepare. Apparently when I go away for the week to Las Vegas and don't have time to produce videos on all the newsworthy topics that deserve in-depth analysis, and I produce them almost immediately after I come back. I get back Wednesday, and my first day to work is Thursday, and I make 5 videos. Apparently me publishing those videos on Good Friday makes me a bad Christian. I think that maybe, who said that? Ananda Baker, that's who said it. Apparently I'm a bad Christian, so, whatever. These people are so full of themselves. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Indeed. Happy Easter. All right, time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the news. Those of you patiently waited a half hour with us, and we've grown the audience to 421. We've got a lot of news, and that is not fake news from Donald Trump. It is not, well, that's who also thinks the song is about them. It is not fake news. Donald Trump posted this on his Truth. Unless his Truth social account has been hacked, Donald Trump posted it. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. He posted that this morning, Easter Sunday at 8:03 a.m. That's Trump. That is not Tusi. Tusi just copied it. Tusi TV did not do that. The best thing I heard the other one day is we don't have time to watch videos. We just ask, well, good. And then when all the mistakes from AI and the bigotry go into it, then you get what you get. Ingrid was fuming. Who the heck does she think she is? Well, she is one of the persons who's been going around behind my back lying about me and spreading all kinds of nonsense. And it's one of the reasons why some people are now making mistakes about the program. They're being misled by people who have agendas. She also accused me of outing her. We'll get to the news. Outing her on December 16th. I never did any such thing. She outed herself. She outed herself Friday night as the woman who was accused of helping Home Affairs go through documents at the Woodmead raid. I didn't do that. She did that. One of my viewers said that, and I said said there was a claim there was a lady there that was helping go through documents, and I said I have no evidence of that. And then she wrote to me and said, "Hey, that was me. I wasn't helping." I said, "Okay, well," and I made a couple videos to draw people's attention away from it because she seemed to be legitimate. Now she accused me of outing her. I didn't out her. She outed herself. I think it was a drunken rant, and she needs help. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the Artemis II mission, which is further away from Earth than any human has ever been in history. That's not true. They've been to the moon, so they're not there yet, but they were going to go further away. The Artemis mission now 3 days, 17 hours, and 58 minutes in the path, traveling at 1,638 miles an hour. That's not very fast, only 2,500 kilometers per hour. It is now 215,000 miles from the Earth and only 64,000 miles to get to the moon. Remember, it will slingshot around the moon. Thank you, Katie, for the 35 Rand, the super sticker. Here is the dashboard that the Artemis II mission has. Check it out. You can see the distance declining in kilometers here and the speed. That doesn't match what we just read. Oh, there we go. It's updated. Okay. So the moon is 104,000 kilometers away, and the Earth is 352,000 kilometers away. You can see the panel on the bottom there, coasting towards the moon. Radiation dose within mission limits. Scheduled mission control center a conference call scheduled for T plus 60 hours. Isn't that cool? That's their dashboard. Yeah, they're going so slow they won't hit any aliens, that's for sure. Well, this came out the other day, and I couldn't find any independent verification. I went to the United Nations. I couldn't find any report of it, but apparently there must be truth to it because News 24 has covered it. Now that this story is out there, I'll take a closer look at it. This was a story that the United Nations claimed that South Africa has violated the human rights of two of the Boermag accused with an unnecessarily long, ridiculous 11-year trial, no opportunity to appeal their case. This is once again racist conduct by the government of South Africa. Boermag trial violated right-wing terrorist rights. Well, UN body rules as South Africa fails to respond. Karen Mallon wrote this. I guess she's got time to take away from her love affair with Jacob Zuma. Andreas, thank you for the 35 Rand. Happy Easter to you as well. Yeah, so there's something to this story. I will look deeper into it. I couldn't find no confirmation on that UN Human Rights Committee website a few days ago. So United Nations Human Rights Committee has found that the Boermag court case violated the fair trial rights of white supremacist father and his two sons who were convicted of terrorism for plotting to overthrow the government and assassinate Nelson Mandela. In advance, unedited version of the decision, see, that's why it hasn't been published yet, but the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights violations now proven by Johan Letts Pretorius and his sons, Johan and Wilhelm. The Committee of Legal Experts gave South Africa 180 days to report back to it on it. Among other issues, why the Boermag trial lasted 11 years and why the Pretoriuses were unable to appeal their convictions and sentences. Wow. The far-reaching decision was reached after the South African government, which is a state party to the government, failed to respond to a number of key accusations leveled against it over the Boermag prosecution. Government departments contacted by News 24 were unable to explain why this happened. Of course they were unable to explain why it happened. First off, the Boermag, there were more government agents in the Boermag than there were Boermag defendants. They infiltrated this. White Ferreiras infiltrated this group, loyal to the Constitution, but Ferreiras to their own people, and then egg them on, just like the Wisconsin thing with Gretchen Whitlas, egging on people to, or Michigan, Gretchen Whitlas, egging on these people to kidnap the governor. The same thing here, they egged on these Boermag people to take action, and then they arrested them. So, you know, this whole thing was racist setup to make it sound like white South Africans are evil and are trying to kill Mandela and overthrow the government. Look, I will see if I can't get a hold of these guys and interview them, because this story needs to be discussed. So once again, the South African government, which proclaims that they believe in multilateralism, they believe in international organizations, and they're attacking the United States because we're acting unilaterally. We're not, but they claim we are. But they don't follow the rule of law. They don't follow international agreements. South Africa is the country that ships combat helicopters to sanction Libyan warlords in Benghazi. South Africa is a country that sends its citizens to murder Ukrainians illegally as mercenaries in the Russia-Ukraine war. South Africa is a country that raids diplomatic facilities in violation of the Vienna Conventions and then doxes diplomats' personal information, putting their lives in danger. This is the conduct of the government of South Africa, a rogue government that violates international norms while professing to uphold international norms on behalf of the global South. Yes. That is South Africa. Now we find out that the United Nations of all bodies, the United Nations has found that they violated these people's rights, basic human rights, to a fair trial. Yep. It's time to take South Africa to the International Court of Justice. One state, the United States, should take South Africa to the ICJ over its violation of human rights. Fikile, what do you have to say about that? Let's do a poll. I'm sure it'll go very well. Let's do a poll. Start a poll. There's your poll. Should another state take South Africa to the ICJ for violating human rights? Should they do that? All right, cool beans. Let's continue on with the news. I thought that story was interesting. Well, ANC veterans are slamming Panyazi Lesufi. Whoa, shocker. Not. The ANC is imploding in front of your eyes, folks. Yep. Question, they reshuffle, and they wonder why the EFF has been given control of the most wealthy province in all of South Africa. These people responsible for the destruction of the Venda Bank are now in charge of Gauteng's finances. ANC Veterans League criticized Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi for appointing the EFF's Nkululeko Dunga as MEC of Finance, citing past allegations and poor financial performance. Ladies and gentlemen, people keep talking about Fikile Bulula being the next president of South Africa. Dream on. That guy is not going to be the next president. He is an embarrassment to the ANC, and they're just too stupid to get rid of him because it's a distraction away from all of their theft behind the scenes and their corruption. Watch this guy, Panyaza Lesufi, much more likely candidate. Well, Johannesburg has cut the power to government departments. The government hasn't paid their bill. The city targets state defaulters and disconnection drive for 1.3 billion rand. City of Johannesburg officials began cutting off electricity to government departments last week due to the non-payment of bills. Happy Easter. The city's debtors book has climbed with 71 billion rand. This is what residents, businesses, and other organizations owe the city in unpaid services, rates, and taxes. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Marrero is speaking at one of the government disconnection sites, said all customers, including government institutions, had a responsibility to honor their municipal obligations in full and on time. The city is launching an aggressive campaign to recover money owed by government departments and state entities with a large-scale service disconnection drive. Oh, my goodness. The government doesn't pay the government. That's pretty sad. Well, the chant is, bring back our Zamazamas. We want our Zamazamas. Yeah, well, why? Because Zamazamas, their illegal mining activity, which endanger water supply, endanger the water table, endanger lives, and is criminal conduct. The Zamazamas, they buy things. Buckets, meal, petrol, clothing. And the Zamazamas don't have any money anymore because they're no longer able to do it because they've been chased away. Bring back our Zamazamas. A mining town pleads as the crackdown increases poverty and crime. Residents described their town as stone dead after Operation Vala Umgodi drove the Zamazamas underground. Literally, no pun intended. Illegal miners kept the economy alive in Rudaport's townships, with residents renting shacks to Zamazamas and benefiting from their spending. The $800 million Operation Prosper appears toothless against illegal mining networks, while the $1 billion Operation Vala Umgadi was scrapped after funds ran out. Wow. A settlement northwest Empty Plains, which just a few years ago was still dominated by sky-high headgear towers and a rumble of mine trucks. The other sits in the shadow of one of Joburg's yellow gold mine dumps, surrounded by the ruins and exposed foundations of buildings where forgotten gold mining companies once flourished. Well, the Zamazamas. Bring back our Zamazamas. Apparently, South Africa is a major player in critical minerals. Not necessarily rare earths, but critical minerals. And the United States relies on them. So instead of playing the fool, trying to embarrass America, how about what you simply do is you talk about this supply chain? But the South African government is not that bright. Africa is playing an increasingly strategic role in supplying the United States with critical minerals, essential for advanced manufacturing, clean energy, and defense technologies, with South Africa emerging as a dominant player. And why is that? Well, because South Africa stands out as the continent's most influential supplier to the U.S. It's a leading source of 4 critical minerals the U.S. depends on. Platinum, 89%. But quite frankly, folks, most platinum in America is used for catalytic converters in our cars. And if we don't have to have that to build cars, we just have to have that to satisfy the green turds. So we can stop using it. So that's not so critical. We do need it in other things, but primarily in catalytic converters. Chromium, 79%, used primarily for motor vehicles again, but not exclusively. Palladium is important across the board in electronics, 57%. And zirconium, 25%. Well, we really don't need cubic zirconiums. So anyway, but South Africa does have these critical minerals. And instead of talking about trading with the U.S. on this, they want to insult America and attack our foreign policy and undermine our interests. The ANC is really not very bright. That's the bottom line. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in case you were wondering, top metropolitan executives are raking in 44 million in rand. Well, more being exposed here, how much these ghouls get. There are cars and cyclists at the T-junction at Edel Road and Kirchner Road in Boksburg in Ekurhuleni. And you can see multiple potholes have formed. There's a piece of a car laying there. If you look at that pothole to the right of it, a piece of black plastic, which is the shield from underneath the car, got ripped off as somebody drove through there. And their car being damaged. At least 16 top executives across 8 metropolitans share more than 44 million rand, even though only half of them have achieved clean audits, according to Auditor General Tsakani Molodeka's latest report. Eye-watering details of the salaries and perks are likely to enrage residents and ratepayers navigating pothole-ridden roads, broken traffic lights, don't you mean robots, and long water and electricity outages in spite of rocketing utility bills. The package has become even more controversial as urban blight takes center stage in the run-up to local government elections. Most visibly, the DA's Helen Zille moved from Cape Town to Joburg to run as mayor and is attracting social media attention by swimming in potholes and embarrassing the ANC-led coalition. There's been overwhelming public response to a report in the Sunday Times last week detailing multi-million rand packages enjoyed by heads of municipal entities of Joburg. Heads of 10 to 13 entities in Joburg are paid above 3.39 million annual upper limit set in the Government Gazette. Their pay has risen 26% since 2022. South Africa's economy has stagnated since 2019, yet their pay is up 26%. 26%. People are outraged. Well, KwaZulu-Natal mayor from the Inkatha Freedom Party is a xenophobe, and he's seeking to attack foreigners. Yep. The mayor of Inkosi Langali Balilele local municipality, Umduduzi Mieza, has ordered all undocumented immigrants in the area to leave immediately. He warned of a massive campaign after Easter. Let's finish these Good Friday Easter holidays, then we'll deal directly with these foreigners. Their time is up now. I've also received their message saying they're not going anywhere, but we'll see those words remain in the end. Wow. Once again, the xenophobes are stirring up hatred. Look, illegal aliens should be deported, 100%. But that's for home affairs, not for the mayor of town, whatever that town is. Hildegard Ackerman, thank you for your membership. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's not for a mayor of a local town. It's for home affairs to do. So talk to home affairs. Talk to Leon Schreiber. Saviwe Garuba says she's been undermined by the ANC. Oh, no, that is impossible. Come on, sweetheart. No. Senior officials in Department of Basic Education are alleged to have met with the ANC study group before her appearance in Parliament. No. That couldn't possibly be happening. Now, the alleged undermining of Garuba's authority comes weeks after she asked for a special investigating unit to conduct lifestyle audits on senior officials in her department. Wait. So Savile Garuba, the DA member in the government, was concerned about people spending money because they're living beyond their means. So she asked for lifestyle audits, and then they undermined her. I mean, come on. That couldn't happen in South Africa. These are good, honest oaks. They're members of the African National Congress. Why? They would never do that. They would never undermine the DA. They would never undermine the government. They would never undermine accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. No, not the ANC. I'm sorry, folks. It's not April 1st. It's April 5th. It's Easter, not April Fool's Day. Wow. There will be mudslinging. There will be accusations that some hope will stick. We will not be deterred, says Savile Garuba. Yeah. Well, you're fighting your own constituents and the ANC. Good luck with that, DA. Bantu Holomisa has warned that Parliament's study groups are nothing but more catered deployment and state capture. Yep. Well, that's not a happy look on General Holomisa's face. UDM leader Bantu Holomisa has raised questions about the ANC's study groups, saying they undermine democratic governance and promote state capture. He claims the secret meetings bypass formal parliamentary process, compromise oversight, and undermine the separation of powers. Well, let me explain how this works. For the past 30 years, the ANC has undermined democratic governance and had the charade of a democratic country, because no decisions were reached in Parliament. No policies were written in Parliament. Everything was done in Lutuli House, because what Lutuli House wanted is what South Africa got. Not what the people of South Africa wanted, but what the ANC's headquarters in Lutuli House wanted. That is where the country was run from. Not from the presidency, not from the Parliament, not from the cabinet, but from the halls of Lutuli House, which, by the way, campaigns bills, and the sheriff has been there twice to confiscate their property. Yeah, that's where the country's policy was run. When it became apparent that they were so unpopular, they were as popular as syphilis, the ANC, and they dropped below 50% to my correct prediction of 38 to 42%, coming in at 40.2%. The ANC had to go into a government of national unity, had to form a coalition, which they did with the DA. Then they betrayed the DA and brought 8 other parties in. But that coalition was necessary in order to get to 50 plus 1. Now they can no longer make decisions exclusively in the Lutuli House, except for foreign policy, finance, defense, intelligence. They still do that. But for the other things like home affairs and and fisheries and the budget and other things, they can't do that exclusively in the Lutuli House, because DA members and Freedom Front Plus members for corrections and the PA, because they aren't going to go to Lutuli House to have a meeting, because it'll be obvious that the country is being run by a corrupt cabal of politicians and not by the people. So what they do now is they create study groups. The study groups decide all this stuff. So these committees mean nothing. Parliament means nothing. It's a rubber stamp. Parliament in South Africa has been a rubber stamp since apartheid. The parliament under the National Party by the 1970s had become a rubber stamp for the security state. Now the parliament has been a rubber stamp for Lutuli House, and it's now a rubber stamp for the ANC study groups. That is how this works, folks. That is how it worked. Bitter ender. Seriously, you're asking if I pay attention to Schlong Commission? I've covered it more than almost anybody. Maybe Morning Shot has covered it more than me, or maybe even Ronaldo, but I've covered it tons of times. Yes, I've ordered a dozen crabs, Benjamin, for 4 p.m. Saturday next week. Moving along. I disappointed Peter Bruce. I was asked to meet with him down in the Western Cape on the Garden Route, and it just didn't pan out. And I would like to have met with him. I doubt I'll never meet with him now, because I'm not going to tolerate this dementia over Trump. And he continues to have this dementia over Trump. Unbelievable. So Peter Bruce, who wants to trash his reputation as a reliable journalist over the decades, continues with this nonsense. Losing in Iran, Trump cast his evil eye on Cuba. Losing in Iran. What planet are you on, losing in Iran? 13,000 airstrikes and missile strikes, and 2 aircraft shot down after 5 weeks of combat. Yeah, no one has ever had such a successful campaign in the history of warfare. And he says losing in Iran? Not losing in Iran. Good Lord. Cast his eye on Cuba. No, we don't cast our eye on Cuba. Cuba's been an obsession with presidents of America since Kennedy. Well, actually, since Eisenhower, but since Kennedy. Since Castro took over in 59, it's been an obsession. Thank you, Liz Liebenberg, for subscribing. It has been an absolute obsession. Trump was in office last time. We didn't invade Cuba. Lots of Cuban Americans have wanted America to invade Cuba. The only time we acted so foolishly was the rash and idiotic actions of Democratic President John Fitzgerald Kennedy at the Bay of Pigs, which he claimed he didn't know about, but he's a liar. Peter Bruce says Donald Trump doesn't know the power of nationalism. Excuse me? I'm so sorry. Peter Bruce says in an op-ed piece, says that Donald Trump does know the power of nationalism. All we've heard about Trump in the lead up to the election and all the effort to take people not vote for him by the media, by the likes of, I'm not saying he said it, but by the likes of Peter Bruce, is that Trump is a white nationalist, a white Christian nationalist. He's using nationalism to divide people. It's a dog whistle for racism. But you're telling me now that he doesn't know the power of nationalism? When we were told the only reason he's back in office, he's rode on the wings of nationalism to get the power. I mean, these things don't even make sense. They don't even make sense. They don't even make sense, ladies and gentlemen. I'll never forget the doctor who treated my son Alex for a back problem in Havana in 2011 while he was studying the Cuban National Ballet. The hospital was miles out of the city. We walked down a corridor after corridor, signing at the door after door and weathered logbooks until we arrived at the right one. The doctor, slightly built about my age, who wore glasses, hardly had introduced himself, and he said, "I can see you have a thyroid problem." I was astounded. I had my thyroid removed, but how would he know? Your eyebrows, they're short. Wow. Well, congratulations, Peter Bruce. You were diagnosed by a Cuban doctor in Havana in 2011. Wow. Your love affair with the Cubans. Now, he does call out the Cubans later in the story, but it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. We spoke about Alex. He couldn't show us the scans he made because the screen wasn't working, but he had them on a CD, which I still keep. When he learned that where we're from, he said he fought against South Africans in Angola. It was a hard war, he said, paying tribute to the enemy, but we won. No, you didn't. You didn't win. Cuba did not win. The Cuban commander was executed. He was executed when he came back. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So it's not a point I argue, but this was a serious person, and I remember liking him enormously. And I can't help wondering about him now as a deranged U.S. President Donald Trump, busy losing a war he started in Iran, prepares to cripple Cuba. I do believe I'll have the honor of taking it, Trump said last month. What a pig. Wow. Are we supposed to take someone like this seriously? Yeah. So I get attacked for producing videos on Thursday that air on Good Friday as a bad Christian, but Peter Bruce can write in the Times Live calling the head of a state such nasty names. Anyway, it goes on and on here. The United States is not losing. So I posted, disappointing but not surprising that Peter reveals himself yet again. His obsession and hatred of Trump colors all of his analysis. Cuban exiles have wanted the USA to get rid of the fascist dictatorship in Havana since Castro took over. Save the idiotic Bay of Pigs debacle brought to us by Democrat JFK, it has never happened. Like leftists in the United States, Peter is obsessed with hoping the U.S. invades Cuba so that Americans get killed. Sorry, Peter, we're not interested. Yeah. Unbelievable. Here's another op-ed. This one here is from the toilet paper record from Iqbal Survey. Yeah, Iqbal Survey. This is BRICS Plus series, The War That Cannot Decide What It Is. Oh, Dr. Iqbal Survey, we know exactly what the war is, and you know exactly what it is. We are defanging fascist, Islamist, terrorist, and that's the bottom line. He's talking about the number of troops on the ground, why Iran is not Iraq, what the global south actually sees. From Pretoria to New Delhi to Jakarta, this conflict is not filtered through nuclear threat assessments or Israeli security frameworks. It's filtered through $107 oil, fertilizer prices up 50%, Sri Lanka declaring Wednesday's public holidays to conserve fuel, and South Africa facing 7 Rand per liter diesel increases. Wow. Well, thank you, Iqbal Survey. And where was this outrage when Joe Biden's feckless, idiotic foreign policy led to $160 a barrel oil? Or $7 a gallon oil. Where was that? Where was your concern about the global economy when idiot Joe stumbling Biden was the president? It was nowhere. You didn't say, well, this is a foolish policy by the United States and the Western world trying to go after rainbows and unicorns and green energy and driving up the energy prices and forcing us to live off of less oil. You didn't say that then. You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. I said it then, and I'm also saying that this is a damage to the short-term global economy, these prices. I called out Biden. I'm calling out Trump on the energy prices. But you are frauds. You are frauds in your hypocrisy, Dr. Iqbal Survey and Chloe Maluleke. You are frauds in your analysis. Wow. Well, the Democratic Republic of Congo is in talks with the United States to take third-party deportees. Yep. Wow. The DRC is in talks with the Trump administration about receiving deportees from other countries, 2 cabinet sources at Kinshasa told Reuters. The U.S. has sent third country deportees to African countries, including Ghana, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, and Eswatini, drawing criticism from legal experts. Why? Why? Are those countries unsafe for these people to go to? They're not welcome in America. If these countries are willing to welcome them, then they should take them. Why is that a problem for legal experts? They're criminals who invaded our country. They're being deported. These countries are willing to take them because their home countries won't take their own criminals back. So thank you, these countries taking these criminals off our hands. Speaking of which, Uganda has received 8 of these criminals. Uganda said Friday it received 8 deportees from the United States. The first such transfer after both countries signed a bilateral migration cooperation agreement last year. Wow. 8 individuals' cases have been reviewed and approved by a U.S. immigration judge arrived in Uganda. All 8 of them are from Africa. So, hey, they got to go home to Africa at least. What's the problem? What is the problem? Well, as the war is in its 36th day now, here are casualty reports. Over 2,000 now dead in Iran, according to officials, 26,500 injured. 13 U.S. military dead, 200 injured. Saudi Arabia, 2 killed. These crimes against humanity and war crimes committed by Iran attacking civilians in other countries is shocking, to say the least. Except it's not. It's who they are. It's who they are. Well, the death toll from an Afghan earthquake is rising, including 8 members of a family that returned from Iran. They were there as refugees. Several minutes after the earthquake struck, screams, then there was silence. Mohibullah Niazi, a neighbor who helped the rescue effort, said Saturday that 8 people killed on the outskirts of Kabul after a 5.8 magnitude earthquake struck northern Afghanistan the previous night, where a refugee family recently returned from neighboring Iran. That's sad. Only one survivor, a 3-year-old boy. Folks, the reason why so many people died and people are dying is because of poor construction in these third world countries. Countries that build earthquake-proof buildings, which is kind of a misnomer, nothing's earthquake-proof. If it gets strong enough, it'll rip everything apart. But a 5.8 magnitude earthquake should not collapse homes. Not if they're built properly. Not if they're built properly. Well, Myanmar's new president is the junta chief, the man who overthrew the government illegally 5 years ago during the Biden regime, just 9 days after Biden became president. This happened. Un Min Aung Hlang's elevation to the civilian post is the conclusion of elections in the country, fraudulent elections. The head of Myanmar's ruling junta was elected president this past Friday by the country's rubber-stamped parliament, culminating a years-long quest to be seen as the country's true leader. They overthrew the government. They imprisoned its Nobel Prize-winning president, and they are criminals. And someone must do something about Myanmar. Where is the ANC and its morality and its high and mighty position as multilateral institutions? Why have they not taken? Why did they not become a friend of the court with an amicus brief to defend the Rohingya Muslims? They love Muslims, the ANC. Why didn't they defend the Rohingya? Nah. Marcel Sappet says you called me a lowlife. Marcel Sappet, your comment said I call people a life. I said that's a low life comment. I did say that. You are correct. That is correct. You posted that I called you a low life, and I said that's a low life comment. Yep, I did. You're 100% correct. You want to have that conversation now? Let's just stop the news now. Marcel Sappet, you posted that comment. You posted that comment. You think you can hide in these groups? You posted that comment. You post a comment lying, and I'll show it on the screen. We'll put it up for the world to see. You post that comment. Yeah, you revealed yourself for who you are. Not me. You're the one that did it. You're the one that did it. Yep. So let's just put it on screen here. We don't want anybody to be confused. You published this, not me. Or you tell me your account was hacked. You want to tell me your account was hacked, I'll listen to that. It's been a year for me, but completed everything. Ready to leave. Was told 2 to 4 weeks at that time. Nobody told us not to take 2 to 4 weeks. Sold everything. Nobody told us not to take 2 to 4 weeks. I'm sorry. You're a liar there as well. I have told people endlessly since the beginning, that's a 2 to 4 week, be prepared to leave. It doesn't mean you're leaving. No one told us. I told you. I told you. I told you, Marceline. I told you. And you lied. You said no one told you. You've been watching this channel for a long time. You've been watching this channel for a long time. We've chatted. I told you. You're lying. No one told us not to, the 2 to 4 weeks. Anyway, I had no more resources. RSC was telling people that just got approved that they're leaving, get ready, but forgot September, October people, which was a couple thousand, basically told us to go to hell. Actually, it wasn't a couple thousand. You're factually incorrect. This is just a lie. That's another lie. That's another lie. The September, October people were only for 2 weeks. Only for 2 weeks. Even if 100 people a day were leaving, which is what the pace was at that time. If everyone was 100 people per day leaving in that time frame from 26 September to the 13th of October, they're the only people who were affected. The only people who were affected. Those 2 weeks maximum would have been, how many? 100? 1,400 people, not thousands. Another lie. Another lie. Even though they were approved, Colonel Wyatt said, we are low-life, and we must be grateful as the black countries. The black countries, what is that, a racist comment? The black countries? The black countries? Myanmar is not a black country. China is not a black country. Morocco is not a black country. The black countries? I never said black countries, and I never called you a lowlife. You lied. You posted this shit in one of these groups. You lied. As the black countries are also waiting, and of you complain, they ghost you, and that is what they did, knowing what this is. Look, you are angry because you are not here. And you know what? Fine. It's your prerogative to be angry. But it's not your prerogative to be a lying troll and mislead people and lie about me. Every statement you made in there is a lie. They're all lies. They're all lies. You don't deserve to come to America. Did you lie in your interview process as well? Did you mislead the officials? No, I don't know. Look, you called me a lowlife. You said I call people lowlife. You lied about what I said. You lied about what I said. And you've been caught. You've been called out. See, they just expose themselves. They come here and they expose themselves. Shame on you. Shame on you. Total bullshit. You think people are going to fall for this bullshit that you bring here on Easter Sunday of all days? Footsec, be gone. Be gone. Be gone. Be gone. Cancel your membership. Piss off. I don't need this sort of lying troll lying behind my back and posting rubbish about me and trying to tarnish my reputation. You've tarnished your credibility completely by coming in here and saying that. You did it, not me. You're the one that lied. You're the one that exposed yourself, just like Ananda Baker. Your whole cabal. And I hope you never come to America with that shitty attitude. I don't know the current video, but myself and my fiance want to apply for refugee program. Want to know if we should get married before applying. Look, G8VXN, thank you for the 70 Rand. It's a refugee question. I'll only entertain it now because you just did the super chat, but I'm not going to answer super chat questions for refugees because I've got an interview coming up in 27 minutes and we can answer it during the refugee cafe clutch. But I will answer this one. In the beginning, I told people that the law says it's your family. Your fiance is not your family. That's what I said. I was correct about that. However, what we've discovered in the course of this in-country program is that the U.S. government has been allowing people who have fiancés, but you have to file 2 cases, and then you have to link them. So you run a risk. If you're married, it's not a risk. So you make the decision for yourself. I don't understand why South Africans don't get married, and it can't be for tax purposes. So it's your choice. Our only recommendation to you is that if you're married, that's your nuclear family. Your family comes. We don't split families, despite the lies of people like they're being posted in these groups. We don't split families. We don't split families. So if you're married, then you're assured that you're both coming over. Why do you want to be together if you're not married anyway? I mean, that's your business. Don't answer it. So, but if you are not married, you both have to file a case. And then you have to ask your case to be linked. Maybe your case will be heard next month. Maybe the other won't be heard for 6 months. And you're not together. You run the risk. But we have seen cases. I know a family where they have an adult male who's dating their daughter. They're not married. They're not even engaged. I think they're engaged now. Yeah, they're engaged now. But he came over with him. So, I mean, it's your choice. You run the risk, okay? Now, what is going on here with Marceline is desperate. So she uses her emotions to make statements that are factually untrue because that's her perspective. She's wrong. And in it, she attacks me. I didn't call people lowlifes. I said her comment was low life, and I said, you're the one being low life. But I didn't. She's telling me in my previous video, I called people low life. That's just a lie. That's just a lie. It doesn't deserve the time of day. Shameful. Shameful conduct. Unbelievable. So come on, the rest of you, come on, expose yourselves. Come on out. Those of you who are posting lies about me in these other groups, come on, tell us, admit who you are. You know, now we know Ananda Baker has exposed herself. She doxed herself as the woman from 16 December, which I never did. She lied and said I didn't. Come on, expose yourselves. Go ahead, expose yourselves. They are crawling out of the woodwork now. Do you know why? Do you know why, Pat? Because they're emotionally stunted people. Yeah. I'd love to see who all these liars are. Yep. Expose yourselves. That's why I don't trust but a very few people. Only a very few people I trust. And even those people make questionable decisions sometimes. I mean, this whole thing about this questionnaire, I didn't approve that. And people I know and trust were involved in getting that thing out there. And I have to wonder, am I trusting people properly? You got to be careful. I mean, people should know better than that. Don't speak on my behalf. No one has the right to speak on my behalf. All right, let's get back to the news. Thank you, Marceline. Thank you for being here. Thank you for telling us who you really are. If you're just angry because you haven't come over, that's fine. That's your prerogative to be angry. But lying about me and misstating what I said, no. That's not right. That's not right. That's morally reprehensible. And it says more about you than it does about me, dear. That's a shame. I've coddled you since the very beginning, and so many of these other people. Ananda Baker, some of these people I coddled all of them. I listened to their fears. I responded to them. I tried to help them. They wasted time in my life by betraying me and go behind my back and writing bullshit about me in groups led by another person who's got penis envy. 2 planes destroyed by U.S. Special Force. Oh, there's a new member. Thank you for that. Danica van Wyk. Didn't you send me a couple emails, Danica van Wyk? Same email a couple of times. 2 planes destroyed by U.S. during rescue operation. 2 U.S. Special Operations aircraft were blown up on the ground during the rescue mission for the second Aviator. So that cost us about $85 million. Yeah, MC-130 Juliets are specially equipped planes are used to carry out covert infiltrations to remove troops from behind enemy lines. They had to destroy them on the ground. We don't know why. Where they hit, they couldn't get out of the sand. I don't know. They're C-130 aircraft. They're adapted. They can take off from improvised fields, but not from sand. The wheels get stuck under the weight. So I don't know why, but they destroyed 2 aircraft. So saving that pilot's life cost us the aircraft plus probably another $80 million plus all the time and put everyone's lives in jeopardy. Hundreds of Chinese are protesting their pensions and health benefits. Well, here it comes. Retirees from state-run farm alleged years of mismanaged contributions, saying they were left with minimal payouts and downgraded coverage. Well, the fact that this made the news is shocking. Yep. Shocking, to say the least. Amazon will hit Canadian U.S. sellers with fuel and logistics surcharge. Well, look at that. Amazon is imposing a 3.5% surcharge on sellers in Canada and the United States as it grapples with higher operating costs amid a fuel spike since the war began. So, will Amazon lower the prices after the fuel prices go back down? Don't count on it. So, we're being gouged now by Amazon. So, we saw from Vincent Magwenya, the spokesman of the presidency of Cyril Ramaphosa, that, well, gosh, guys, France was forced to uninvite Cyril Ramaphosa because the evil Americans made them do it. Never mind the fact that the French denied that the United States State Department denied it was true. We weren't even talking to France about this. But he spread this disinformation. And then Ramaphosa said, no, it's not true. We're not part of the G7. We're not surprised we're not going. And then he came back and attacked the United States for pressuring France. But they didn't pressure France. And here's the proof of the pudding. I told you that Macron does what Macron wants. France does what France wants. France is never pressured by the United States. Are our planes flying over French airspace to bomb Iran? No. Are our planes refueling at French air bases? No. Do we have access to France? No. That's kind of a geographic problem because France is a big place in the middle. In addition to that, because we have planes flying from the UK, so they have to fly over Central and Eastern Europe to get to Iran, not over the natural flight path of France. We also have aircraft that are based in Italy that should be part of this campaign. They had to fly elsewhere because the Italians won't let us do it. So France does what France wants. And here's the proof in the pudding right here, ladies and gentlemen. Emmanuel Macron once again criticizing Donald Trump. Macron criticized Trump for war in Iran and for berating NATO allies. French President Emmanuel Macron of France on Thursday criticized Trump for shifting his goals with the war in Iran during a trip through Asia. Mr. Macron also warned that attacks on NATO were weakening the alliance. No, the French withdrawal from the command structure in 1968 under Charles Scumbag de Gaulle is what weakened the NATO alliance. So let's get the French to start telling the truth instead of lying about France, about the NATO. So France does what it wants. Trump to Iran, open the effing straight, you crazy bastards. My goodness. We showed that at the beginning of the program. President Trump early Sunday issued a profanity-laden warning to Iran saying U.S. forces will target power plants and bridges if the Islamic Republic does not open the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping. Trump has issued several stark warnings to Tehran in recent days about the looming consequences. Yeah, well, we covered that. That's a shocker to me. We got him. That's right, folks. If you're wondering, the United States has rescued that other downed airman. Those 2 planes we just talked about had to be scrapped. Dozens of aircraft supported the search and rescue mission, which had been ongoing since a two-seat fighter jet was shot down on April 3rd. My fellow Americans, over the past several hours, the United States military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history for one of our incredible crew member officers, who also happens to be a highly respected colonel, and who I'm thrilled to let you know is now safe and sound. Despite being on the run behind enemy lines, Trump said the downed airman was never truly alone because his commander-in-chief, Secretary of War... Okay, well, that's just propaganda. We don't need to hear that we were all behind him. No, he was alone. He was alone. So here you can see some of the Air Force Pavehawk helicopter, part of the 46th Expeditionary Rescue Squadron. They were refueling there. Thank you, Linda Fundamental, 140 Rand super sticker. Yep. So 2 planes went down on the 3rd, and all the crew members have been rescued. U.S. commandos rescued down Air Force officer deep inside Iran. Well, I don't know how deep it was. The map made it look a little closer. The 2 crew members, the F-15E Strike Eagle, the first lost to enemy fire in the month-long war, had both ejected from the cockpit on Friday after their plane was struck. The jet pilot was quickly rescued, but the weapons officer could not be found, setting off urgent search and rescue. The CIA initiated a deception campaign to try to confuse the Iranian forces and convince them the airman had already been rescued and was moving out of the country in a ground convoy. The agency also ultimately found the airman's hiding place, passing information on the Pentagon, which mounted the rescue operation. Wow. Well done. So the CIA helped rescue the airman. Thank you to the CIA, I'm sure. No doubt about that. Well, the Iran war is making America more dominant than ever. Being a major energy exporter gives Trump leverage over other countries. President Trump didn't attack Iran to help the U.S. economy at the expense of its allies, but that's how it's working out. Despite higher gas prices, the U.S. economy is holding up. Abroad, though, interest rates and inflation risk have shot up. Fuel is being conserved and economic forecasts are darkening. Net oil and LNG trade is share of GDP. Look at all these countries that need fuel. Japan, South Korea, India, China. They lose that much of their economy for energy. So it's working out in America's favor. California-based family members of Qasem Soleimani are arrested. Their green cards are revoked. 2 family members of assassinated Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Major General Qasem Soleimani have been arrested by federal agents on the 3rd of April. Hamadeh Soleimani Ashfar and her daughter, the Los Angeles-based niece and grandniece, were ordered termination of their lawful permanent resident status. They were accused of using social media to support and spread propaganda on the social media of the Iranian regime while living a lavish lifestyle in California. While living in the United States, she promoted Iranian regime propaganda, celebrated attacks against American soldiers, military facilities in the Middle East, praised the new Iranian supreme leader, denounced America's great Satan, and voiced her unflinching support for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a designated terrorist organization, according to the State Department. Well, now they're going to be kicked out of the country. There are consequences. Madeline, thank you for the 70 Rand. Katie, thank you for the 5 memberships you're giving the folks. All right, and congratulations to the 5 who've gotten it. Secret Service investigates reports of gunfire near the White House. No injuries reported. No suspect was found. U.S. Secret Service on Sunday said it was investigating reports of overnight gunfire in Lafayette Park, which is across the street. No injuries reported. No suspect was found after search of the park. Trump spent the weekend at the White House, and there's no immediate comment about the incident. The park has been fenced off for weeks for renovations. I know I was there in December, and you couldn't get close. More Americans are becoming wealthy, ladies and gentlemen, despite the lies of the left. Yes, more Americans are moving up the ranks in a country where your merit can make you succeed. Research shows that ranks of higher earners have grown markedly over the last 50 years, while lower rungs of middle class have shrunk. Randy Schilling went to public high school in Corpus Christi, graduated from Texas A&M with a petroleum engineering degree. For the first decade of his career, he lived in an apartment worried about paying for vacations. Then in his early 30s, he landed a job at a chemical plant that paid him 15% more plus bonuses, and life felt smoother. Around the same time, he bought a house and a golf course. Promotions and pay raises followed, and he saved more than $3 million for his retirement. Almost without realizing it, he ascended into the upper middle class. Millions of Americans have moved upward mobility. There is no single standard definition of middle class or upper middle class, and what counts as a hefty income in one city can feel paltry in another. The report by Stephen Rose and Scott Winship classified a family of earning $133,000 to $400,000 in 2024 dollars as upper middle class. Households earning more were categorized as rich. So, ladies and gentlemen, the number of Americans moving up the value chain in economics has increased dramatically, including Black Americans and Hispanics, over the past 50 years, despite the lies. Artemis 2 mission, day 4, manual flight in deep space, lunar flyby preparations, and Easter message. Yep, the Artemis 2 missions, which we covered at the beginning, is en route and closer to the moon than it is to the Earth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this one I'm a little disappointed in. I'm kind of bummed out, and let me tell you about this. The CIA's World Factbook, a document that has been around for nigh on 50 years and has been used by a lot of people, is gone. The Trump administration eliminated the CIA Factbook. Now, interest of full disclosure, I am an author of the CIA Factbook. As a defense analyst at the Defense Intelligence Agency, I was required annually to produce reports on countries in Africa that I covered, and I repeatedly updated the situation of the South African military, Eswatini, Botswana, Angola, Mozambique, yada, yada, yada. So I was an author, both of the open source report that you can read and the classified report that was used by the Intelligence Committee or Intelligence Services. So I was an author for the CIA Factbook for a couple of years. Eulogy for the CIA Factbook, the free standard for world facts, is gone. Wow. Its authors, some of the world's best intelligence gatherers, contribute thousands of their own photos, kept the curated database updated and online for public use at no charge. That's after so now it's gone. Yep. Wow. News of the fact books ends shocked more than just U.S. students and researchers, picked up by news outlets around the world. Fundamentally, one analyst said a fact book assembled by a government agency with secret agendas and shadowy methods might never have been unbiased in the first place. The compilers aren't, nor can they be expected to be neutral, said Binoy Kempmark, a professor of global urban and social studies at Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. Mourning its loss, he wrote an email would be misplaced. Well, Mr. Binoy Kempmark, you can shove it up your rectum. None of my reports about the military in Southern Africa were biased in any way. They were objective, based on factual information. If the information didn't comport with what my beliefs were, I didn't change it. Every article I wrote for the CIA Factbook was factual and unbiased. And I don't use the term unbiased very often. We all have our personal bias. My news analysis is objective. It's not unbiased. Capitalism is the best form of government. The United States is the best country in the world. That's bias, and I'll stick to my bias. But it's objective. The CIA Factbook, I will tell you with 100% certainty, what I wrote was unbiased. Unbiased. My analysis, my reports, my facts, everyone. So Mr. Kempmark can shove it where the sun don't shine because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's on the outside looking in. I was an author of the World Factbook, so shove it, buddy. Well, the WNBA has signed its death knell by increasing the salaries of its top players to levels that will be unsustainable for such a boring black supremacist league that none of us watched until Caitlin Clark started playing. Caitlin Clark's new WNBA salary revealed that after breakthrough in talks and weeks of tense negotiations, remarkable salary increases by the WNBA's biggest stars have been laid bare after weeks of tense negotiations. She was making just $85,000 a year for her first 2 seasons, but she was making millions in endorsements. She'll now earn $528,000 in 2026. That's a 521% pay increase, thanks to a new clause in her contract. Well, will she bother to play? We barely saw her play in the past season. So, other big salaries include Aya Boston, that's her teammate, went from $94,000 to $574,000. Paige Buckners, a second-year player, went from $80,000 to $500,000. And Angel Reese from $75,000 to $350,000. Clark's Indiana Fever teammate, Boston, in fact, is set to be WNBA's highest-paid player, with Dallas's Diamond Miller second, and Caitlin Clark, the best player or the most popular player in the WNBA, only third. So, what does that tell you? The best player comes in third. And that's the news for today, folks. Be sure to hit the like button. Let me close the poll. So, most people think that they should be taking the ICJ. Those who don't think, that's their prerogative. That's fine. James, thank you for the $7 super sticker. We've got the memberships. Thank you for that. Let me go back. And then Linda. So, Marceline, are you still here? Are you still here? See, you don't get to go on social media and lie about me and misstate what I said because you don't understand what I said or because your feelings are hurt without consequences. I've allowed people to disparage me for months. That's over. That's over. Folks, you find people lying about me in a WhatsApp group or in a Facebook group, feel free to send me a screenshot. I'll protect your identity, but feel free to send me that. These people will be exposed because they're nasty. They're nasty. Marceline, why did you do that? Why did you lie about what I said? Why did you lie? If you're upset, I get it. Why did you lie? See, these people don't get what they want and they throw their toys out of the pram and they try to take casualties with them. I'm not going to be your collateral damage because you're angry. What are the impact these criminals going to have against society? Is it fair? Well, they're criminals. Some of them are just criminals because they broke our laws coming in. Juanita Parkinson, thank you for the 70 rand. Others are criminals because they commit criminal acts. So let's question the two things. All right. Let's be frank. So let's be frank. Dinner bells rang. Okay. They can't come out and say we can China. Laptop just had a critical error and had to restart. Well, that's crazy, Henry. Yeah, we're told that nationalism is a bad thing. And now we're told by Peter Bruce that Trump doesn't understand nationalism. What else we got here? Hey, Joy, what's going on? All right, that gets me back to as far as I could. So I did answer the question about the marriage thing. Okay, by the way, guys, neither UK or Australia have come to any South Africans' aid. Yep. Oh, well, Sean, no, dear, I could become wealthy from slander and defamation lawsuits. I can. That's not worth my time. I can, absolutely. But, I mean, most of these people don't have anything to take, so. Hey, Yassine. Yes, Pat Meister, people crawling out of the woodwork. There are many desperate people that don't have to be dipshits, though. Yes, Delia, there are many desperate people. You're right, they don't have to be dipshits. They wonder why they won't get approved. By the way, these people that lie about me, these people that do these underhanded, dirty things, I never report them to the U.S. government and try to endanger the refugee status. I've never done that. That would be spiteful. But I mean, honestly, if you know or believe that I have contact with officials in the U.S. government, why in the world would you disparage me? If anything, you'd think you'd suck up to me. People just aren't very bright. Hydrus doesn't even trust himself. I've emailed a screenshot about the Red X. Okay, I got that. Okay. Give them hey, Crippy Kid. Don't let groups or questionnaires or anything unofficial. It's dangerous. I agree. You shouldn't give out your personal information. Donica, thank you for becoming a member. It's important to call people out to do this. I agree, Big Fish. No good deed goes unpunished. You're right about that, Heidi. And that is why I'm not in groups. And even I changed my name of the channel, so I'm not involved. Exactly, Ebola games. Just want to go to the U.S. Really, some people makes it difficult for us. Stay positive. Well, stay positive, Sharon. Don't understand why people do things like this. Incredible opportunity. Colonel's doing so much for helping, informing. We get this. Yeah, I know. I'm traveling all over the country, largely, almost entirely at my own expense, to meet with people, to hear their concerns, to report things. I publicly now Shelley Hepburn, despite her recent misstatements offering her opinion as fact, it wasn't. Shelley Hepburn was reporting on people in terrible conditions on her social media back in November. She was. I intentionally didn't report on it until I went and saw it on the ground, because I'm not going to take, although I'm not calling people liars, I'm not going to take people telling me without my ability to see things for myself. I saw things for myself. I visited the homes of those refugees in Rochester. I spoke with them. I communed with them. I heard what was going on. I saw firsthand how other refugees, not just South Africans, being mistreated. Therefore, I then reported on that, because I saw it firsthand. I could verify it. Now I'm much more comfortable reporting things because I've seen a pattern. I'd also known about this for months because I'd helped people in Modesto, I'd helped people in Austin, I'd helped people all over the country who were having trouble with their case officers. But Shelley Hepburn did report on that. But CBS News and the Free Press and these little trolls who are in league, playing these games, claim that this was all done by the Free Press and CBS. That's a lie. Their report didn't come out until about a month after I had already done my report. Yep. And what I uncovered in Rochester didn't make it into Madeline Rowley's article, and that's her prerogative. The problem is that they spoke to 10 people, and they presented it as if it was actually the whole world. ICJ's overkill. Yes, Sir Glenn Quagmire, it is overkill. You can't wait for Trump to leave office. Yep. You like the pink shirt? Yeah, there you go. The Black Pestilence Doctor. Sending good vibes. Anyone's here on the farms, please be safe. Yeah, be safe on the farms. Carl Rasmus, he needs more PKs from his wife. Oh, you talking about Macron, huh? Not just farms, everywhere, yep. Linda, thank you for the 140 rand again. Neff is doing an interview in 5 minutes. Why did Trump encourage people to take the streets before the way it began? Why did George Bush encourage Iraqis to overthrow Saddam Hussein in 1991? I think it's a foolish decision, but that's the decision he made. Many people don't believe the airman was rescued. Well, he's not an airman. He's a colonel. He's a weapons officer. And, well, that's fine. They can believe what they want to believe. Yeah, PJs. There you go, Tyron Maximus. You know what the term is, PJ. France is still in denial of World War II. Yep. Colonel, Europe doesn't want to have to run a war if their people don't want to. USA. No. The U.S. joining World War II is not the will of the American people. The U.S. joining World War II was deeply unpopular, and they rounded up 5,000 German Americans and imprisoned them, suspending their habeas corpus rights. No. It was deeply unpopular. We had Nazi movements in America. We had anti-war movements. Yeah, no, it was not the will of the people. The only reason we entered World War II was not because the Nazis. Otherwise, we would have been in the war already. The war started in '39. We didn't come until almost 1942. We stayed out of the war because it was deeply unpopular. We only came in because Japan attacked Hawaii. Then it suddenly became popular. But that was against Japan. And then Germany foolishly, we didn't even declare war against Germany after we declared war against Japan. Did you know that? We declared war against Japan, not against Germany. Then the Germans foolishly said, oh, we've declared war in America. Then we declare war in Germany. Okay? So that's the facts with that. Okay, thank you for the 70 Rand. Thank you for the other 70 Rand. I didn't put up the wrong thumbnail. Something is going on. You'll look and see it's a correct thumbnail with Neff. Okay? When I posted that in Telegram loaded up the correct link with the wrong thumbnail. I don't know why. In the WhatsApp groups, it was fine. I didn't post any wrong thumbnail. That is those services, not me. Meritocracy lie. We can't point the few who fall through the cracks. They're not the rule, but the exception of the rule. Huh? What do you mean meritocracy lie? It's not a lie. I became a full colonel. Dirt poor. Had nothing. I earned my way to colonel. Certainly wasn't a DEI hire. Elmarie saying, I was pushing that Google thinking you're backing it. Well, Elmarie, thank you for the apology, but that's the problem. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't push it. I didn't approve it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's evil or it was wrong. I'm just saying I didn't know about it. And see, that's a hazard. If you people want to do something and you want to include me in it, you need to include me in it. Let me know about it so I can say it's okay. But I had nothing to do with it, okay? Apparently the data is going to come to me. Yeah, I already reported 187,000 jobs a couple days ago. Yeah, the CIA fact book was amazing, and I was an author. Disappointing. Okay. Okay. All right, well, that's going to do it here, folks. See you in the next chat. We'll be up in a couple minutes, maybe a couple minutes late because I got to get it set up with Neff, with the Refugee interview, okay? So join us in just a couple minutes. How do you get in a WhatsApp group? Well, Sharon, that depends WhatsApp group you're talking about. If you want to be in a WhatsApp group, one of my 3 refugee groups, they're only for you receiving, you can't comment. Only Hendo and I can post in there. Then we can get you that. One of the links can be posted in the next stream, okay? All right. If you want to get in the news groups, you can be put in there at any time, okay? We share those. All right, got a bunch of them. That's it. Going to see you in a couple minutes here on the channel with Neff, another refugee conversation in just a moment.